everybody, and welcome to the very first STEM challenge of summer reading. So for our very first STEM challenge, we are going to do STEM projects on creatures that you've read about in books. We're talking dragons and mermaids and unicorns, all kinds of fun creatures like those. And so for our very first project, we are going to work on origami bookmarks. We have two different options, so you can make either a unicorn or you can make a dragon. Both are fun, but you get to pick one of them. Each kit has the materials to make one. You can either make a unicorn or a dragon. So decide which one's your favorite, and that's the one that you get to do. Now, if you do decide that you want to make the dragon, I'm going to put a separate bonus video at the end of this video that shows you how to make the dragon. That way, there's no confusion. The first one will be the unicorns, and then the bonus video will give you instructions on how to do the dragon bookmark. But just to see how they work, they're very cute. You just slide your little unicorn or your dragon on the corner of your book page, and it holds your spot. It's perfect. All right, so let's get started on our unicorn bookmarks. So in order to make the unicorn bookmark, you're gonna need a few different things. Now we will provide you with most of the supplies like normal, but you will need to provide your own pair of scissors and a black marker of some kind. Now we will provide you with a template because, as you can see, the unicorn has lots of little pieces like flowers and leaves and ears and the horn that you're gonna have to cut out. So you're gonna wanna cut these pieces out and then trace them on different colored paper. So we will provide you with little sheets of different colors. So you'll get two different colors. It might be blue and peach, it might be pink and purple, it might be pink and blue, who knows? But you'll get two different colors to make your flowers with. You'll get green paper in order to cut out the leaves. You will get either the shiny metallic gold or silver used for the horn. And you will get, I'll give you two pieces just in case, because folding is difficult sometimes, and sometimes it gets hard to get right, get the folds just perfectly right. So I'll give you a bonus sheet just in case there's a mess up, because it took me a couple tries to make some of these too. So it's totally okay, but you'll get a piece of paper that you'll use to make the actual body of your unicorn. All right, so now let's get started and let's make our unicorn. Okay, so the first step is we're going to make the body of the unicorn. So we're gonna need to do the origami part. So the first step is to take your paper and fold it to make a triangle. And you're gonna wanna try to make it as even as you possibly can. It's okay if it's not, but you're gonna wanna try to make it as even as you can, because it looks a little better if it's as perfectly even as possible. Okay, so you make a little triangle like this. And then the next step is you're gonna take, so you've got your triangle like this, so you're gonna take one side of it and fold it down so it touches the other end. And again, try to make that as straight as you possibly can. So it should look like this. Okay, and so then for our next step, then we are going to take one of our corners, so we're going to take this corner here, and then you fold it up so that it meets the corner at the top. So it should look like this. All right, and then you're gonna wanna fold the next corner up. You're gonna wanna fold this corner up just like you folded the other one. So you're gonna meet it up at the top. Okay. So it should look like that. Kind of makes almost another square. except we're holding it up like this, so it looks more like a diamond. So it should look like this. All right, and then your next step is you're gonna take one of these folds and you're going to tuck it in. So I'll try to do it this way. Well, okay, you're gonna tuck it in like this. You wanna tuck it in and get it as flat as you can, which can be a little tricky. There, so it should look like this. And then you're gonna wanna do the same to the other side. So you just tuck in the other corner. You try to tuck it in as flat and as much as you can. Smooth it all down. And there, and again, you'll make another square or diamond in this case, but it should look tucked in and should look just like that. So then what we're gonna do is we're gonna have it turned up like this, because as you can see, that's how we did it before, because you're gonna wanna be able to put it on your corner, the corner of your book, like this. So you want your pocket to be at the top. Okay, so that's all you need to do in order to make the body of your unicorn. And now we have to cut out all the little pieces that are gonna go on top of it. We have to get our template out again and just need to cut out all the pieces. So I'm just gonna cut those out really quick. So after you've cut out all your pieces, you will have the following. You should have a piece that'll go for the leaf. You should have two different shapes like this, and those are for the ears. You should have your unicorn horn and two different sizes of flowers. Now, the next step is to trace them. So you are going to want your two different colors. So I'm using my peach and my blue to do this. And you're gonna wanna trace your different flowers on the back of those pages. So because I really like blue, I'm going to do two big blue ones. And I'm gonna use a pencil to trace these. And I'm gonna do two big blue and one small. And then with the peach, I'm going to do two small peach flowers and one big peach flower. All right, so I'm gonna trace them real quick. Okay, so those are all ready to go. So then the next step is just to cut everything out and then we're gonna put them all together. Okay, so now all of the pieces have been cut out. So now it's time to just put the pieces together. So I'm gonna take the rest of the scrap paper so I can use that to glue on, because the next step is we're gonna glue pieces together. And sorry, I forgot, you will need some sort of glue or tape. Glue sticks work the best, but whatever kind of glue or tape you have handy will work. All right, so the first thing you wanna do is you wanna take your unicorn body and you wanna glue your unicorn horn behind it. So you wanna put the glue down at the bottom of the shiny part of your unicorn horn. So you're just gonna stick your unicorn horn behind it and try to make sure you've got it as centered as possible. Okay. So it'll look like that. All right, and so your unicorn horn's on. So then the next thing you want to do is you want to put your ears together. So you take your white pieces and then you'll take the smaller peach piece and you want to glue that peach piece on top of the white piece. Okay, so your ears should look like that. You just want to put a little glue on the front where you just put the peach paper. So put a little glue there, and then again, turn it over, and you want to stick it just a little ways off from your unicorn horn. Okay, And then you want to do the same with the other ear. You just want to glue the top piece on and then try to make it about the same length away from your unicorn horn. So you want to put yours again on the back side over here. Okay, so that'll look like this. So you've got your unicorn horn and your ears on, and then the next thing to do is to glue your leaves on. So you've got 5 leaves, and you can just put them on any way you want to, but just be careful not to put them too low because you still have to draw some eyes on there. So you want to kind of put them higher up so they're sticking out over the ears and over the horn a little bit. Okay, so your leaves should be spread out along the top of your unicorn, just so they can go underneath the flowers, and again, high enough so they don't cover at least the bottom part of here, so you can draw some eyes under there. All right, and then your next step is to combine your flowers. So you're gonna wanna take one of your big flowers, and then you take one of the smaller ones, and you're gonna overlap them. So put lots of glue on your smaller flower. So it should look a little something like this. And then you're just going to glue the flowers. When you've made all 3 flowers, you're just going to glue them on top of your unicorn. Okay. So you've glued your flowers on, and it should look a little bit like that. So you've got your little flower crown on your unicorn. And then the next step is to take, you can either draw them on if you want to, or we'll give you some little dots. So all you have to do is take the dots, or if, like I said, if you want to draw them, you should just use a marker and make a little dot right in the middle of your flower, or place the dot right in the middle of your flower. Okay, so that should look like this. All right, and so your last step is, I would use a pencil first. I recommend using a pencil and draw some closed eyes. You can draw them open if you'd like to, but just for this one, for my example, I have little closed eyes with some eyelashes. So you can draw your eyes any way you'd like to, but I just did an eyelid with some eyelashes. And then once you like your eyelashes, just trace them in a black marker. And your unicorn bookmark is all done. And that's it. All right. So then let's move on to the next activity. All right, so for our last activity, we are going to be making something called a Cartesian diver. And it's something that's really cool. It's a fun science experiment where you have a little diver, usually made out of something like a pipette or whatever, where you can squeeze it and get water inside of it. And you fill a water bottle up full of water, you put your little diver, your little pipette in there, and when you squeeze the water bottle, your diver or your pipette will sink to the bottom, and then when you let it go, it floats back up to the top. And this works just because you fill your pipette with a little bit of water, and just so you've got like a little air bubble at the top, and you want it to just barely float. But then when you squeeze that bottle, that little air bubble has nowhere else to go, and it packs itself in, and more water squeezes in, and it packs itself in, and that pipette, that diver, becomes really dense. And so it sinks to the bottom of your water bottle. And then when you release it, that air bubble and that water are able to release themselves, and so the diver floats back up to the top. It's really fun. All right, and I have one I made as an example, and so I want to show you how it works really quick. So you can see my little diver floating up there at the top. So when you squeeze the water bottle, it sinks to the bottom, And then when you let it go, it floats right back up. And so you get to try it to make one at home. Now, the only things you're gonna need to do this, you need a water bottle. I have a couple of big ones, but you can try different sizes of water bottles. You need a pipette. You need a hex nut, and because our pipettes are really thin and small, you need a really tiny hex nut. And then because we're gonna make ours decorative, because this week is all about bookish beasts, right? So we are gonna make ours a mermaid themed Cartesian diver. You need, I've got a little water balloon, and warning, they may have latex in them. So if you have a latex allergy, you're gonna wanna look for your own balloon that does not have latex in it. Or you can just decorate it with a marker and not use the balloon. But you also need a permanent marker, something that will last in water a little longer to use as a decoration. And some scissors, and that's really all you need. Well, you need lots of water to make sure it works. All right, so the first thing you wanna do is you want to cut your pipette because you don't need this huge long tail. So you just kind of wanna cut it down a little bit. And you might wanna start a little longer. So if you need to, you can always cut it down more. And then you need to put your hex nut on. So you just kind of twist it onto the bottom until it goes right up to the bulb part of it. If you can see that. All right, and then for the decoration parts, so you've got your little water balloon, and you just kind of want to cut it to make it look like a mermaid tail. If you would rather draw on it to make sure that it looks like a mermaid tail, you're more than welcome to. But I just cut mine because it doesn't have to be exact. If you just make a couple of little cuts, you'll make your mermaid looking tail. And honestly, you want to make sure that it's open at the bottom too, because you don't want to keep your pipette from getting water or being able to squeeze water. The really fun thing about this experiment is that you really get to play around with it because you have to have a certain density in order to get your diver to sink and then float again. So you have to really play around with how much water will go into your pipette and maybe what size water bottle you use, just all kinds of things, like how much you need to squeeze on it to get it to work. These are all ways that you can change things around at home and try your own things, see what works, see what doesn't. All right. And like I said, you just want to make sure your mermaid tail is open at the bottom, so that way it doesn't keep your pipette from getting water like it needs to. All right, so you can just slip your little mermaid tail onto the tail end of the pipette, so it looks kind of like that. And then you just want to take your marker, whatever color permanent marker you have, and just draw a little face on it. So I've got my little mermaid. And then the next thing you want to do is you want to fill up your water bottle. I already pre-filled mine. So all I have to do is the next step, which is to take your little mermaid diver and you want to fill it up with water. And you want to try to get as much water in there as you can because you just kind of want to leave a little bubble at the top. Okay, so once you have decorated your little diver and you've got your tail on there and you filled it up with water as much as you can, then you just drop it in your water bottle. And like I said before, it should just float. You don't want it to stick out too much. You want it to kind of dive in there before you squeeze it, but it should be just floating at the top. And then you fill it up with just a little bit more water, just so the water goes to the very, very top of the bottle. And then you put your lid on. And again, that's why you want to have a towel or a bowl or a tray or something underneath when you do this, because it will leak water. but you want as much water as you can possibly get in that bottle. And then you just squeeze. And if it works, your diver will float down to the bottom and rise back up to the top. If it doesn't work, there are many different things you can try. You can cut the tail if you need to. Maybe you left it a little longer, and that's totally fine, but you can cut that and maybe that will help your diver to sink. You can add more water to your diver or squeeze a little out of it. You can do all kinds of things. You can maybe try a different water bottle. Maybe that water bottle is just not working very well. But there are lots of different options, and you can experiment and try different things and see what works and what doesn't. That's the fun part about this. You get to experiment. But that is how you make a Cartesian diver. And I hope you have fun making it and decorating it, making it look like a mermaid. So I hope you guys have fun with the STEM challenges this week and enjoy summer reading.